Throwing downfield, pass intercepted. Picked off by the Huskers at the Iowa 43-yard line. 10 to the 5. He dives to touchdown, Nebraska. Gets hit and goes down. What a sack that time by Ty Robinson.
It's once again time for another installment of HuskerChat, brought to you by Newcomb Diesel of Kearney. I'm Jayson Jorgensen. As always, we are joined by Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline. Well, Sean, here we are again. Your take on the Nebraska-Iowa game. Nebraska did some good things. They were right there, but unfortunately, too many mistakes down the stretch.
Yeah, there was a lot of things you liked about the game. Martinez set a school record for completion percentage, 18 of 20. The defense held Iowa to under 3 yards a carry running the ball, which if you would have told me those two things, I'm like, Nebraska wins this game. But the costly mistakes come up again to bite Nebraska, the muff punt, the sack fumble at the very end of the game that was due to a protection breakdown. Just the little things continue, Jason, to be the problem for Nebraska.
When I watch a Nebraska game, and I don't know if you get this sense, but I have seen this on message boards, to this point, people almost wonder when the big mistake or something bad will happen to them. And unfortunately, on Friday's game, it really was a punt return and the two big penalties.
Yeah, and they've got to get away from that. I mean, I think for Nebraska to take that next step, there's this such a negative mindset right now when you watch a Nebraska game as a fan, and I think it comes with trust. I think there's just like lack of trust right now with everybody that watches Nebraska play. That they're going to make a mistake, they're going to do this. Don't get too excited. It's been that way for a long time. If we're being honest, there really haven't been too many just seamless, put your feet up type seasons with Nebraska football in the last 15 years. But I think when you watch Nebraska, you can see that the gap is not that wide between an Iowa and a Wisconsin, or particularly a team like Northwestern this season. And to see how those little things cost them a game, 21-13 to Northwestern, 26-20 versus Iowa. I think that's what's frustrating for a lot of folks.
You mentioned Adrian Martinez. I thought he really showed a lot. It showed a lot about his character to be benched twice. He showed he was a great teammate during that time. And then he came back on Saturday, and I thought he certainly played well enough for them to win. The loss you certainly can't put on his shoulders.
Yeah, I know. He did everything he can. Didn't throw an interception, was 18 of 20 passing. I thought the throw to Austin Allen was one of the better throws we've ever seen him make, considering the situation. It was against an Iowa defense that does not give up very many 20-yard plus plays, especially when they know they're going to have to throw it that far. So he did a lot of things to like in that game. Was he perfect? No, but I think he really stressed Iowa a lot. I think Iowa was worried about what he was doing. And, I think just the way the offense was moving with him, caused Iowa to probably be more aggressive with what they wanted to do to kind of match up with that. They went for that 4th down and 2 versus kicking a field goal. Just little things like that jumped out to me. And I liked how they worked McCaffrey in too. I think there's a way to manage this and make it work.
Today on HuskerChat, brought to you by Newcomb Diesel of Kearney, we're visiting with Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline. Another big topic of discussion is Cam Jurgens and the issues with the snaps. What's your take on this? You got to credit Scott Frost with staying with his guy, but there comes a point you have to wonder.
Yeah, it's become an issue when 5 of your 63 snaps are bad snaps. That's 10% of your plays. And Scott Frost even drew up this study. He goes, when we don't have a penalty, a bad snap, or a turnover, we basically score a touchdown on like 90% of our drives. So Nebraska's own worst enemy is themselves. And the snap issue is a huge problem. It really has been the start of the downfall of the offense the last 2 seasons. You can go back to South Alabama week 1 when Nebraska was the largest point spread favorite in a game in the country to open the season when Adrian Martinez was picked to be number 3 on the Heisman Trophy boards. And they just have not been what we thought. And I think those snaps have been a big part of it because it just disrupts the entire play, what you do. And when you have 2 fly over the head of the quarterback for 23 yards of loss, that's very difficult to overcome against quality teams like Iowa.
Well, hopefully that improves this week. Nebraska's on the road against Purdue. What's your take on this Boilermakers squad? They're 2-3. Every game's been a one-possession game. If it weren't for a bad break here or a bad call there, that they certainly could be setting with a much different record.
Yeah, it's been ugly though the last 3 weeks. The Rutgers loss really knocked the wind out of their sail. Rutgers was playing a third string quarterback in that game, and their defense is struggling under Bob Diaco. They've only forced one sack and one turnover over these last 3 games total. So they're not getting to quarterbacks, they're not forcing turnovers, and they're starting to allow more big plays. So I think the defense of Purdue is the story to watch. I think Nebraska could have a big day if they execute, and that's obviously a big if. But you worry about Nebraska's defense. Can they play well again this week? Rondale Moore has played the last couple of weeks. David Bell's a very talented receiver. And then they've got a running back, number 40, Xander Horvath, and he's 6'3", 235 pounds. So he's a physical load. This won't be just a little scat back that you can bring down. I think, kind of matching up with Xander Horvath and slowing him down will be a big part of this game as well.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about this week is the defections. Now they have 5 guys who have left from this 2020 class. I get, things are different this year. COVID really has affected things, but boy, that really hurts your program when you lose 5 quality guys who've already decided to leave. What's kind of your thoughts on that, and how does Scott Frost fix that?
Yeah, 5 are from Florida, 4 of them are from Miami. And so I think there's a trend there that they're all kids that are 15 to 2,000 miles away from Lincoln. And I think 2020 has played a factor on that. I mean, you think about these kids came here to play football, and they were doing that, but just the campus life is not what they thought it would be right now, and the social life's definitely not what they thought it would be. And there's nobody in the stadiums at games, and so all the things that would maybe make Lincoln, Nebraska fun for a kid that's from Florida have not been there. And I think on top of that, they weren't playing. And these Miami kids, a lot of them went to 2 or 3 high schools in their career. So as Scott Frost said this week, we can't just look for the right athletes. We got to find the right football players and that fit the culture of Nebraska. And that's easier said than done, because you can't deny the talent. All those kids had talent, but they didn't necessarily want to maybe work and do all the things that mattered. And they just wanted to play on Saturday. And I think a lot of these guys had a hard time, that they couldn't just walk out there and play, maybe despite the fact they weren't prepared or they didn't know what they were doing yet. They just, thought that they could just get out there and make it happen. So it's a big picture topic that needs to be addressed and looked at now going forward.
All right. Well, hopefully things improve this week and Nebraska finds a way to knock off Purdue. Sean, as always, thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks, Jason.
That was Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline, once again joining us this week. You can catch us every week as we bring you HuskerChat, brought to you by Newcomb Diesel of Kearney. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.